Check 1 2. Check 1 2. How's everybody doing? We're back with another stream. Sorry for the delay. A little busy as usual. How's my sound coming through? Everything good? Too loud, not too soft, hopefully. Check 1 2. Check. Let's see here. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Check. Check. There we go. Okay. Just trying to get the gain right. I've just been messing around with some stuff here. All right. Cool. Get rid of this. Bam. There we are. Alrighty then. Chris, what's up? Cool. Who's that? Ness Thor. Hello, hello. Cool. Alright. Just keep letting people pour in. Let's just try to work on this a little bit before the stream. Just trying to get that mouth right. I feel like it's pulling a little. It looks kind of good from the front, but then from the side, I think it's pulling a little bit too much down. I'm gonna fix that. Jewelry tutorials. Well, I'm not a jewelry guy, so you won't get much info helpful for that from me. But I think Thomas Whittlebach. I don't think he's on today, but he's always right around. I think my time period. I think he might be before me or after. I forget. I haven't looked at the schedule in a little bit, but he's a jewelry guy. He's the guy you want to learn from. I don't do jewelry, so sorry. I do characters, environments, pretty much everything else. And I do 3D printing. I do a lot of 3D printing, but this is all for 3D print. This is all eventually going there, but so much of prepping a model for 3D print's the same. A lot of it's the same as prepping it for visual effects in the beginning. I mean, you can go about it different ways, and you can definitely negate its ability to be a visual effect asset very early on if you want to, but it behooves you, it helps you to work on something with good topology. So like this has clean topology that's animation ready at this point. I mean, it's geared for deformation and proper animation, but that also helps you with facial expression. So you usually want to sculpt on something. If you have the option, you should always find a good human base mesh if you're going to do a human character. Any character, find a good base mesh that has good topology that would be ready for animation, because that will allow you to use polygons more efficiently and will allow the deformation and the constriction of muscles and things bulging and popping out the way that they would compress and stretch to be realistic, and that would help you get the forms you want looking cleaner from the get-go rather than just subdividing up and subdividing up, which is what a lot of newer artists do, and people who just don't really know like the proper way to model characters for animation. So it's always good to know. So I'm just smoothing out some of these forms. The face has so many subtle things, and if you get some bulging in the wrong place or some weird stretching, like here, this looks bad. This lower res, even though it's still high. Once I also divide up higher, like if I go up to 6, this gets in tighter there. Still needs a little bit more love with the /3 brush. Oops, sorry. Tap. Sorry, just fixing the music for myself. All right. And his teeth are messed up. I gotta fix his gum line, all that. But just gonna come in here and touch that up a little bit. That kind of has like a little bit of a harsh kind of downward turn. That should be a little bit more smooth. Mute that. What's up, Uceris? Doing okay, man. Thanks. Question: if you know a program like Maya or Blender and comfortable with making hard surface models there, do you think it's worth the time to learn ZModeler? All hard surface. If I can do it in 3D package, I shouldn't bother about. Well, yes and no. I mean, ZModeler isn't just for hard surface. I mean, you can do hard surface with it very well, but that's not all it's for. There's a lot of other aspects to it that would be good for you to learn. So yeah, I would say totally learn ZModeler. And maybe, you know, if you don't want to use it for hard surface modeling, you don't have to. But there's a lot of other aspects to it, and other menus that you can only access, not only, but yeah, largely through ZModeler, and or when you use your Gizmo, there's other menus that are only through the Gizmo that correlate well and work well with ZModeler. Different tools that let you do different topological modification. So like the bend curve, the whole like lattice system there, that works really well when you have good geometry again, and you can make good geometry in ZBrush. I would argue faster than in a lot of other programs. You know, if you had two people who really knew ZModeler and someone who knows Maya box modeling, yeah, it would be a tight race. I would say that. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if one won over the other, but only by a small margin. Because I mean, there's such speed to both of them. But I think I'd argue there's probably more speed in ZBrush, honestly. And I'm not being paid. I'm not being paid to say that. I just really think it, from what I've seen. I know Maya decently. I'm not like the Maya expert, but I mean, obviously, I know enough to work professionally with it. But I think that ZBrush does have a lot of strong elements to it when it comes to ZModeler toolbrush mode. Where am I going here? Matrix. There we go. I feel like this curve of the fold there needs to come a little tighter, a little closer to the corner of the mouth here. Yeah, it looks better. And the glasses are going to have to be like pushed against the face a bit more, like bent from the bridge area, like wrapped around the face a bit more. So I'll get to that. But the face is always the most important. Just gonna look back at the scan. Just kind of looking at this lip line here, and where that falls on Mr. Reeves' face. Yeah, his gums are way. His gums are like his upper gum, his maxilla. It's almost like I saw this injury once when I worked in the ER. It was terrible. It was in Pennsylvania. I worked in an ER in Pennsylvania and in Lancaster County, and Lancaster is known for its Amish, its massive Amish community, and it's gonna happen anywhere, but just coincidence, whatever happened to this guy. Any farm, I mean, but that has mules. So this mule, this donkey or mule, I don't know, I think it was a mule. It kicked him. There's a difference between donkeys and mules, by the way, for those who don't know. A mule is a donkey and horse that have mated. That's the product of them. The mule kicked this guy in the face so hard that it cracked his upper jaw. So like it's separated from where the gums are between there and the upper part of his skull, which is obviously all should be fused. So there's a massive fracture that went through his gum line, I guess, or above it, and dislodged the whole top part a bit so it could like move like this, like your lower jaw can. But obviously your upper jaw should not move, like disconnected from the rest of your skull. It's pretty nasty. The guy was like in a total daze, like shocked. Hey, Ein, want a treat? Yeah, I'm gonna get a treat, but you gotta shut up. Sorry, he heard something outside. So anyway, this just reminded me of that because it was a pretty horrific injury, and this looks a bit incorrect. Like when your lips are open, your teeth should be showing, but you shouldn't really normally like ideal like proportions and most human proportions. You don't see the gums when your lips are just like this. You'd see a little bit of teeth maybe. That's it. So anyway, clear sign that the gums are way too low on this face. So I gotta fix that, and that's from the underline original model that I used for this. But we're getting there. So turn off the teeth. That's been bugging me now, so I'm gonna take care of that now. We're just gonna mask everything else. And let's see where I can hide that. And I want to keep the lips there as reference so I know where we're going. So do this rest of it manually. Sorry, what's chat saying? Tatara, New Zealand. Good morning. Eduardo, excellent. Sky Stars. kind of scared of the smile. Well, it's not a smile, it's more of a grimace. Like a wincing. But hello. Have I ever created icy characters? I don't think I have. I get the context. I mean, like, I get the idea behind it, like icicles or frost or that kind of thing. You have smoothness and things hanging off them, or unless you're looking to render it, then that's a whole other story. That's all about textures and materials. You could sculpt in some deep gashes if you want, like there be cracks in the ice in their body. But whenever I think of icy characters, my brain would go immediately to Glacius from Killer Instinct. I loved those games in the arcade, and then of course it came to N64. But that was a great frozen character that he would like. They kind of stole, and I like obviously they were inspired by Terminator 2 and the T1000 because he would like liquefy himself to like go into a pool of water and then immediately like recoagulate and then come up with like an uppercut. So I love those fighting games. Those were the Killer Instincts were great. Um, Holy damn! Oh yeah, for the maxilla injury. Yeah, it was bad. It was nasty. There wasn't much I could do. I was just sort of there to observe and help, like hand some stuff to them, and then they took him up to the OR to obviously to work on everything. Dangerous, man. Anything that weighs a lot more than a human being should be given a lot of respect. That's just my opinion from first-hand witness to severe injuries from people who made mistakes. Mistakes were made. And some of those can be fatal, so... Okay, so we want to mask the green, aqua. And now we want to lift the gums up. And I'm going to hide this lower jaw, lower area here too needs some, a little bit of love, a little bit of fixing as well. It's kind of all like janky. I can do a little bit of that right now. Actually, I probably want to grow hidden for a minute. So I just know where this lip is kind of coming from. Just using move and smooth right now to adjust how this area is. I mean, a lot of this isn't going to be seen, and I'm not sure how deep I'll let the mouth go, because when you 3D print a cavity like this, even if you're not worried about bubbles, and explosions in your printer, your SLA printer, you do have to think about just what kind of supports are going to be generated internally that you won't be able to extract, you won't be able to remove, because the entry into the mouth will be so fine. So I'm probably going to seal up a lot of the inside of the mouth right behind the teeth. So I might delete actually a lot of stuff that's in here, but that still means that the teeth and the gums have got to be in the right place so that everything else behind it can be deleted, and that's all irrelevant. But yeah, just want to make sure that the front part of everything that will be facing the viewer will look correct. So that's where I'm at here, and just thinking about these front cavities, these areas that might still be somewhat hollow or not solid. So just doing some cleanup here. Not the most exciting stuff, so I won't try to spend too much time on it, because I know it can't be that fun for anybody. I mean, it's not that fun for me, it's just busy work, right? But so much of life is that. So much of life is stuff you just gotta do, even though you don't like it. trick of it's to figure out ways to do less of it. Anyway, anybody watch? I don't normally watch Saturday Night Live at all anymore because I just don't think they haven't really been that funny for a long time. I think the best time was like early 2000s and back, like all the way back to its beginning. But as it's gotten newer and newer or older, I guess, it's not it usually isn't that funny to me. But last night there was a skit, and then I found out as I did a little quick YouTube check. This is a character that Pete, what's his name, has been doing for a while, but they only do special. Like it's all pre-recorded most of the time. It's like it was like a commercial, like it's a movie quality kind of like little skit short that they do. And last night they filmed Chad, his character Chad, um, on Mars, and the skit was called The Astronaut. If you haven't seen it, just type in SNL Chad on Mars, something like that. And Elon Musk was the guest host, which is why I watched, and it was freaking hilarious, dude. I gotta say that I haven't laughed that hard at an SNL skit in a long time, and yeah, it was really funny. I thought it was really hilarious, just ridiculous humor, and it's my kind of it was my kind of ridiculousness, so I enjoyed it. Seemed like a lot of the live audience did too. A lot of people were laughing pretty hard. So if you haven't seen it and you want to laugh, highly recommend you look up SNL Chat on Mars on YouTube. It's like 3 minutes long, something like that. Any of you guys, catch it last night? You use a 3D printer? Yes, I use several. Comics Legend, hope you're well. Any progress on your movie? Slow, yeah. I've been learning Metahuman. I said I was going to post that last week and I didn't, or 2 weeks ago, whatever it was. Sorry, got busy. I will post it today. I swear. I'm going to do that right after this. I had to actually, I was taking forever because I videoed myself working on it just off screen because I wanted to kind of catch like a real, I don't know why, I just felt like doing it with my phone. So I set up a quick tripod and videoed over my shoulder my whole process of making a Metahuman from the kid that I for those of you who were last week, from the base mesh that they give you to the trying to remake my kid from my short from The Last Guardian. So I remade the kid as best I could to get it close to being like kind of like a Polynesian, Asian sort of, Filipino kind of mix. Like you're not, ethnically ambiguous, kind of that look. So Japanese, Polynesian, Filipino, somewhere in the middle. And it looks pretty good, I gotta say. I mean, Metahuman's impressive. So anyway, so yeah, that was somewhat progress because I was learning after that then how to take a Metahuman and prep their rig so that it can be bound to your motion capture animation, which is I did all my motion capture for the kid. So all that data has been sitting here on my computer for a while, and I haven't finished my model that I've been working on for a long time. So I haven't really gone down the whole rigging path just yet. But I had a friend of mine who's much more senior in visual effects and knows rigging a lot, and I mean knows rigging and animation, knows everything. And so was working on that to hand over to him for him to help me rig it, and then just got busy and got sidetracked. It got a little apathetic, depressed, whatever you want to call it, last year. So didn't push things as far and fast as I should have, as I would have liked to, sort of. But anyway, so yeah, but yeah, progress is things are picking up again for myself as far as just finding motivation and feeling this sort of sense of urgency and wanting to just push things forward with that. So that's the thing with artists. I mean, it's if you're not inspired and you don't need if what you're doing and if what you're doing makes you money, but you're not even that motivated by either because you don't need money really, or the work is just so laborious or just so you hate it so much. Artists, creatives, I mean, many people, but especially artists, really don't move things along very quickly, or they won't move things along. I mean, it's different if it's your job, you know what I mean? Like, obviously, you got a stable paycheck and you need to keep it. Of course, you work efficiently, but when it's your own personal projects and it's like other things come in the way or you find other challenges, I mean, we're all human, right? You find a way to kind of just make excuses to not move things forward sometimes, and it's not good. So So I've been trying to get better with that. But yeah, I mean, last year was just a weird exception. I'm normally a pretty motivated, positive person, but yeah, you know, I mean, last year sucked. So, and things are still rough. I mean, things are still not like flying and moving as fast and as great as they should or as I would like. But things are picking up, thank God. So, all right. So, just trying to like level the gums out quick, and then I'm going to kind of lift them up more. I also don't want to grab other geo that's not involved with the maxilla. What is... Yeah, it's not going to work because it's not symmetrical anymore. All right. So I'm just masking parts here quick so they don't move. I might actually grow the mask a little bit. Make it faster by dropping a lower sub D. Go back up. Person I shouldn't watch Saturday Night Live. Yes, I use the 3D printer. Use Lightwave 3D. Okay, yeah. So few people do these days. It's rare. Kevin Lannister, funny. Unless you're my boss. I mean, you know. I'm human. Yeah. Is this going to be an action figure? Well, not really an action figure. It's going to be a statue. You know, it's more like a little art piece. Little art piece that's going to be like 1/6 scale, so probably like 2 feet tall or so. Like he'll be up in the air, doing that final kick. Acer Godoy, hello. So yeah, for those who don't know, come on, show you guys. For those of you who are new or haven't seen this in a while, I'll show you what the end piece is gonna look like. Sort of. I mean, it's gonna be a take on this. I mean, it's gonna look nearly identical, of course. But this scene, this is a still that someone took a long time ago, and the film was being made. But it's basically this moment, but it's going to be right when the leg actually makes contact with the SWAT dude's face. So, yeah. I mean, everything else is going to go pretty fast because a lot of this stuff, I mean, I'll still match his suit and everything, but I'm not going to be working hard on the guy's faces. It's just going to be like this expression, you know? So it'll be a generic guy's head, face, and just that smashed expression, which will take some time, sure, but everything else should flow pretty fast and be pretty, like, almost procedural in some ways, like generating the clothes and adding textures to them, and then, you know, well, moving them first and posing them and then adding all the finishing textures and whatnot. But obviously, the most time that takes the most effort is the likeness of Mr. Reeves and getting the expression right. And so this will be basically the pose. Like, I love this. This is like such a glorified, like, epic shot. And of course, in the film, this is the one angle we get. Then he nails the guy, and that's kind of going to be, except his body will be, I think, higher up, because this looks more like his leg is coming, like, almost directly. It's up, but it's not. It's like up, almost coming down. If you see here the position here and an angle, it's almost it's almost downward. It's like just barely above horizontal. So it's definitely going to be a little bit higher up when he's at his peak of this jump. And then of course it goes. I love that poster. If anyone knows where I can get this as a full, like, 40 by 27 inch poster, let me know. I can't find this anywhere, and I'd love to get this as like an actual, like, movie sized official poster. can't find it anywhere for some reason. But then this will transition after, I mean, not will, but after that shot is this one. So that's when they do that cut. And so you never really see, in the film, you never really see this actual moment full on from when the leg is actually nailing the guy. So I'm kind of cobbling together all the, elements and angles from it to know, to get as close to what it would have ideally looked like in real life. And so each character will be 1/6 scale, so that means 1 foot tall, basically. For a 6-foot man will be one foot tall. So he's, so basically it's two men stacked on top of each other at an angle. So it's going to be, pretty big. It's going to be pretty big. It's a pretty big piece altogether. It should be awesome. So his coat will be flowing into the pillar, and that'll be kind of, I'll have to make it a little thicker in some areas slightly, so that'll support much of his, I'll probably use like, I don't know, maybe I'll use either black or tough resin for that, so it's extra strong. And of course his whole the whole body of the character will be hollow, so it keeps it really light. And then as things go downward toward a lower center of gravity, less hollow, more solid, so it adds some strength and weight, different areas. And it's probably thicker in some areas too, like definitely like the head, most of the head will probably be solid, if not a lot of the actually internal areas will be very thick and solid to hold up where the leg is coming in contact with the face, so that the guy's legs and whole like torso into the head will be connected to the strike, and that'll be kind of like one pillar, and then the other of support, and the other one will be the coat flowing against the pillar, the literal pillar behind him, which will add some more. So it'll be like an A-frame, basically, like a weird A-frame structurally. So that's how it's gonna hold up. So it will kind of really, keep him in midair in a sense. So it should be pretty cool. So that's the end goal. So right now we are heavy into Mr. Reef's likeness. And then from this, of course, we'll move on to finishing the glasses and the hair. And then it's all about his clothes, regalia, and the pose. Not that this matters much, but I still like just to keep things looking correct and clean when I can, so I'm just smoothing that out quick. So anyway, let me get rid of these. Made it like this in 2 days for a test for Technicolor. Tired as fuck. Yeah, wasn't perfect, but I got it close. Yeah, I hear ya. Yeah, I've done the fastest I've done a likeness, I think, was 2 or 3 days. I forget exactly. I think it was like around that too. But yeah, I mean, it was like a solid 8 to 10 hours straight of just comparison and, like back and forth with profile and front and 3/4 and back all the way through those cycles. And that was Ewan McGregor. I did that for a test actually for Hasbro. And the funny thing was that they were like, "Oh wow, we weren't expecting a likeness to look this good. We weren't expecting a likeness almost at all. We just wanted like the form, the general like, look of it." But I'll show you what I did for them, which was, it was fun. I was proud. I mean, I'm proud of it enough that I still have it in my portfolio now. It's way in there. Let me find it quick. But it was fun. I was happy with the way it turned out. I should 3D print it. I haven't actually. I guess I'm just not the biggest Star Wars fan, but I love Ewan McGregor's work. I love a lot of his films. I think he's a great actor, and I like a lot of what he does usually. So yeah, this was the piece that I did. Again, it's not perfect either. I won't say that it's like a 1-to-1 likeness, because I kept a lot of things symmetrical, but thankfully his face is very symmetrical, so there wasn't a ton of asymmetry I needed to do. I should have done a little bit to match it perfectly, but again, for a toy, this is like above and beyond. I would say that this is close to Hot Toys quality, and this was for a Hasbro action figure, which most of them, I'm sorry to say, look like shit. So, I mean, a lot of them don't look good. They haven't. I think they could really use some some better sculptors or art directors or something. I don't know, but I mean, when they did with that's why they lost the Jurassic World franchises, because their dinosaurs look terrible, sadly. Only a few looked decent, and I was happy to work on one of them that looked good. But yeah, they screwed up on the Raptors big time back when Jurassic World came out. Anyway, so that's that. And yeah, I got a little work with them from that, but they, I don't know. Seems like there were some big egos at play. That's what they told me. When it came to the Raptors, because they saw my Raptor work, and my Raptors are like really like crazy amount of detail, super screen accurate. And I think they just, I don't know what they, I don't know who thought what. They just said, "Oh, I want to do it." I think that's what I heard people saying. It's like senior guys were just like, "No, I want to do the Raptors," but I think they just wanted the prestige of saying they did them, but they look like trash. So that's why that's part of the reason why Mattel just like got got the Jurassic World franchise and Hasbro doesn't have it. So anyway, okay, so let me think here. It's just about my own face as a reference. So a little bit higher up, I think. Yeah. Should mask that. I'll have to smooth that out there. There's a little bit of a ridge. Oh. Okay, so that's just a highlight from yeah, the ridge is that strong. Interesting. Alrighty. Smooth it out, invert. How you guys doing? Kangaroo Pow. I am sculpting Mr. Reeves as a likeness. I actually just did a little explanation. Hopefully you caught that. Um, but man, it was amazing. Love doing marathon like things. Gets my blood rolling. Exodus. That's neat. Thank you, sir. Made the whole body. Yes, I did the whole thing, the entire thing. I think I did the head in like 2 days, and the body was like 1 day. It was just like super fast. Yeah. Maybe it was two. Maybe it was 2 days for the body too. I can't remember honestly, but it was like a really short amount of time. I mean, it was like very very tight, and I rushed to do it. And it was during the holidays too. It was like I was visiting my folks back in Pennsylvania, and I remember I just sat there for like 3 or 4 days at my parents' dining room table, and I was just on my. I think at that time I was using my MacBook Pro and and a portable Cintiq, and that's what I was working on. The 12WX, 12WUX, whatever it was. And they served me well. Did a lot of work on those two things to get me where I'm at today. So I still have the MacBook Pro down here. It's just an old beat up, like I'm talking like 2007, 2008 MacBook Pro, maybe even older. I think it was around there. It was 2008, I think, or 2000. Yeah, I think it was like 2008, 2010. I don't know, somewhere around there. It's crazy. It's crazy old. It was crazy old. Yeah, I mean, crazy underpowered really is what it was. And yet I still did a ton of work because ZBrush works so well on weaker machines. It can still do great work even if the machine is not, you know, an incredible beast of a machine. All right, so the gums and that whole cavity up there does not need to come up this high. So I'm gonna bring this down. So something else to keep in mind, if you're newer to ZBrush, dropping your subdivision to do gross, meaning like large scale changes to a model, to expedite many of these things, to expedite it. This is a great way to do it. Just drop your subdivision level down to either its lowest or close to its lowest, and it will let you, with the same brush at the same settings, do drastically faster adjustments than if it was highly subdivided. I mean, it's logical, but a lot of people don't seem to think about that sometimes, or forget to do it. So if you're pressed for time, or you just really want to move things along and you know what you want to do, just drop your sub Ds and go to town. Okay, so that's better. That's where we should be as far as gum placement goes. Smooth these out. Go up to the highest, make sure those areas are resolved. Oh, they're still there too. Smooth out. Alrighty, so the mouth gums are fixed now to align the teeth. Sorry guys, 1 second. Alrighty. Anyway, oh, you have to do textures. Okay, so yeah, I didn't have to do texture. It was just sculptural, so don't feel bad. Um, I mean, yeah, there's going to be times, guys, when if you're working professionally, you're eventually going to encounter it where you've got to go into crunch mode, and you just got to turn into a machine. Just if you need coffee, you need to stay awake, do that. But you just lock in and you just zone out and or just or zone in, whatever you're in the zone, and you're in that flow state, right? And you're just cruising and just going and going and going, and before you know it, it's like 4 a.m., 5 a.m. You feel a little tired maybe, but no, I got to keep going. 7 a.m. rolls around, the sun comes up, and you're just going, and then you finish it by noon the next day, or go all that day, and then you're almost done, and so you're like, all right, now I can take a rest, go to sleep for 2 hours, get back up, keep going through it. That's how I function in the past. Um, so that's me. It's ridiculous. It's not healthy either. Like, I wouldn't recommend doing that for any length of time than what is necessary. But that's definitely been a lot of not a lot, but I mean, I've definitely done that a bunch of times for different projects to be done, to be done on time or delivered on time, or if I just have a personal reason, like I want to deliver, I want to physically hand somebody something, and I know if I just push myself this much harder for these next couple days, I can get it done, because I'm going to meet someone and hand them like a 3D printed gift or something. Um, but still, it depends how insurmountable that project is. If it's huge and if it's crazy ambitious, like I would have loved to have handed over my Trico statues finished to the people who were involved in the Last Guardian that I wanted to give them to, but it's it's even though I finished the prototype, I mean, it was just so much work, and then I wound up getting busy with so many other things that to get back into that I will, but it's like it's still like, oh my god, a lot of extra stuff to still do and tidy up beyond the prototype. So while I'm proud of the prototype and it looks great, there's still so many things that I need to like modify and fix, and it's a lot. It's more than people think, I think, and it's more involved than people realize. So it all depends on what your what your projects are, what your needs are, what you're doing. But yeah, pulling all nighters something you got to do a lot of the time, and you got to make sure to not kill yourself while you're doing it. Because yeah, it's not healthy. You need your sleep. Sleep is really, as much as I am annoyed by the idea of having to sleep, because I would just love to not have to sleep or not even have to eat really, even though eating is a joy a lot of times. I just want to be able to do, and so that's my ultimate, like my core is like I just rather be able to do than have to take time off to sleep. But sleep is really healthy for us. The more I research about things, the more it's like, man, sleep is very important. Of course, I mean, we all know that it regenerates your muscle tissue and it cleans out your brain. I mean, it really there's so much that sleep does for you. So we take it for granted. Okay, so I want to push these back against the face a bit more. So this is the improper way to zoom, but it just lets me enlarge what I'm looking at here. That's why it's getting pixelated. Isolate this for a second. Do a mask. I'm actually going to change the material so I can see a little bit better. Oh, let me clear mask, fill, redo this mask. Let me go back to actual for a second and zoom in. Okay, I just want to make sure I have enough topology there to do what I want to do without it just warping. Or not warping, but like kinking, I should say, where it gets a kink and it looks all faceted. Okay, so right there is that's the bridge. Okay, interesting. So it really is kind of like a little wonky. So maybe I don't know. Well, we'll see. So let's do this. All right, so wait, I want to clear this first. Come on. Now they're looking pretty good except for the temples. So I have to adjust all that. Okay, but yeah, then the inside here needs to come inward. Yeah, because they slope down here significantly more than the ones I'm using right now. So I bought these online quickly because I just wanted something that was already had the form, and then I would edit it. So that's what I'm gonna do. And then I'll figure out like how they're really going to attach, because when I pulled them in last time, my idea was that I would pull them into the face and then subtract the face as a negative to boolean out the shape, so it would kind of be like a lock and key into the face. But it looks from the side, it only looks good from the front. When you look at the side, it looks like welder's goggles, kind of. And that doesn't look right at all. So, don't want to do that, but I definitely don't want to do what Hot Toys did with their version of it, where you have this kind of the same look, like really thick plastic glasses proportionately to the 1/6 scale doll, basically, action figure that it is. So it makes him look like a totally different character. So you almost have to take off the glasses to make it look like Keanu. Otherwise, it has this strange, like, bulky, goggle-like attire on. So, forget if I center these or not. Let me get back to actual. No, I already took them off center. Okay, so I matched them to the face. All right, because I want to make those lenses symmetrical and correct in their areas, their slopes. So I can just do I guess I could just do, well, not unify. What's I'm thinking here? So center on them, and then do home for them. So now they're centered in the world. And I'm just eyeballing this. At least I'm going to get it close, and then I'll adjust them manually after. Drop these down. So I'm just gonna. No, what do I want to do here? Hide. And then mask. Or unhide, invert mask. And pull these guys down. Because I looked at the attachment, and the temples are actually kind of higher up on the curve of the ovoid shape of the lenses. And they're actually going to move inward a bit more, but that'll also be affected after I bend them to wrap around the face a little bit more. What was that? That topo looks weird. Oh, interesting. Okay. That's funky. So maybe I can just delete this thickness right now. Yeah, because okay, I see what happened. Yeah, so they had like a inward fold in their crease because of these extra edge loops. So I should just delete a lot of these extra edge loops. Ah. So need these clean. That's going to be a challenge because there's a slight curve already. Well, let's see though. Does that follow? It does follow the edge loop. Okay, so I can just delete those extra edge loops as well. So, blam. Did it do both sides? Not quite. Ah. Let's see. turn off symmetry and see if we get this. Okay. So I've got to delete higher and then delete hidden. And now I want to extrude from the lenses. So this is what, so Uceris, I think you're asking about ZModeler brush. This is a good use for it right here. Simply doing a extrusion on something like this instead of having to go into Maya for just this. Like, that's so annoying. So I'm just gonna stay here. And invert. And now, so what do we want to do? We want our target to be the polygon. We want all polygons to be affected, and we want to, oh wait, actually first, I'm thinking here. We want to extrude, and we want all polygons. And now it's going to do this. We have double on, so it's going to be inverted, so we want to flip it once we do this. Blam. So there we go. Unhide the rest. And we have nice, clean lenses. And we can do another subdivision here. And now these should match way better. Just eyeballing this right now because I know obviously general placement, and then we're gonna do the more refined. So like at this point, before I actually did I off center it? I did, didn't I? Yeah, okay. So leave that center for now. Now I want to like kind of wrap them around the head a little bit because that's how they were formed, because everything was custom made for the actors for the Matrix. So I'm gonna do that. What is chat saying? But dude, what the heck is with layers? They always screw with model instead of helping. It only makes up new issues. You mean layers in ZBrush? I mean, you gotta know how to use them. Learn a lot by watching. Sadly, I have to sleep soon, but catch up with this one. Thanks for the stream. Sure. Hey, it's Neo. Love that. Thank you. Which resources can you recommend for understanding camera and ZBrush and how to fit it for a reference? I just figured it out myself. I just did my own research and experimentation. I also teach ZBrush privately. So if anybody wants to learn like what I'm doing here and a little bit more like personal and slower pace, I do private lessons. I do sessions with different people all the time. So if you want to schedule a session, just email me or DM me on Instagram. So if you want to email me, you can just hit me up at Daniel@lion. So I can type arts.com or DM IG, which is Daniel Lion Arts, all one word. Send me a message there if you'd like to schedule a session or two. We could go for an hour, we go for half hour, go for 2 hours, up to you. Pretty flexible right now. I should be starting a new position with a company soonish. We don't know exactly when. They're figuring things out, I think, still behind the scenes, but they're a little busy, very busy. But yeah, so just let me know, and then, if we have to work around different times, we can figure it out. Do you think that for 3D printing, the metal wire pieces on the glasses are too thin to 3D print, or does it depend on the size Or will you thicken the wires? Yeah, I'm not going to thicken the wires so much. I'm just going to figure out a way to do this so that it works and looks correct. You can print pretty incredibly thin things. Like, you'd be shocked. Um, I'm gonna have to figure it out. But I definitely don't want it to look, like I said, like everything too thick and weird. Like I said, I've been thinking about maybe like having them actually already welded to his head, and then they just extend out to a certain point, and then that attaches. The glasses or all the lenses will attach to that. We'll figure it out, but I think it can be done and look great. It'll be fragile, but it'll look great. Again, if I print with like tough material, I might be able to still get them small enough and yet be resilient enough that they could be thin but strong. Or I might even just, I don't know, try to make them out of actual wire. And, because if I'm not mistaken, if we look at the photo, and I think there's a side view I can find, you don't really, I mean, the only thing you might be missing is like how they look behind his ears, which again, that's all touching the ears. So I could just model those pieces of the temples against the ear, and then it goes under the hair. So like that can be hidden in a sense, and then when they come out of the hair from the sideburns along the face, that could be attached maybe. Oh, we'll see. I don't know. There's a bunch of different options. There's a lot of different routes we can take to get to the same end result. But the point is that it's going to look superior to any Neo statue or action figure that's ever been made before, in my humble opinion and ambition for this. But that's what I want to do with all my pieces. Like, I always want to make shockingly cool stuff. Like, I never want to do anything mediocre or half-assed or just like, well, it's good enough. Like, if it's personally, like if it's my stuff that I'm making myself, that I don't have any deadline to meet or anyone's like over, my shoulder with a gun to my head, I'm gonna make it look awesome. I'm gonna take as goddamn long as I want to. It's gonna look good. That's my point. It's like, it's gonna be great forever when it's done, right? But you release it early just to rush it out, it's going to be bad forever then, right? Until you remake it, but then you lose a lot of attention on it. So, good night. Ask about it later. Good night. What were you asking about? Oh, with the layers thing. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly what your problem is with layers. Layers can be complicated. I mean, they can stack upon themselves and influence each other very quickly. So you have to know how you're working with them. Is it good to build a house or building in ZBrush? Or which program is more stable? I mean, stable? Or suitable, sorry, suitable. God, I can't read. Suitable, I mean, I've never done like super complicated buildings. I've done like simple ones. It really depends. Like, what are you talking about? Like a skyscraper that just has a repeating pattern of windows that all insert, or that have like a little recessed area, or are you talking about like architectural building where you want to have like interiors and exterior, and it looks like it's ready for architectural rendering for like professional presentation or for film, like that kind of. So it depends what your end use, what your end need is for that project. That would dictate probably which programs you want to use. So I would think you can still build some great box models, in ZBrush, absolutely, and still do it very quickly and fast. Doing it to scale, that can be a little dicey. I like working in ZBrush a lot though. So obviously, like I would probably create a really clean group of base meshes in ZBrush, bring it into Maya to get actual world scaling correct, fix whatever like angles or elements need to be tinkered with and pulled or extended, and then bring it back into ZBrush, and then just keep on throwing things in there in ZBrush to some degree. Now, if you need to be inside the building and placing things, and you can't just like remove the roof easily, or because unfortunately ZBrush doesn't have a true real world real world camera, you would have to go back into Maya. But you can still create a lot of your separate assets in ZBrush and then just dump them into Maya and just place them, and then scale them accordingly. So it's all about how crucial, how important is scaling to your project, and what's the end use, what's the end purpose for it. It's just my 2 cents. But yeah, I mean, you could easily just do it all in Maya too. It just depends. Depends again how organic things are, how much flow you want to have, visually, if you have free reign, or if you have tight, creative direction already given to you. So there's a lot of variables, Is it good? Okay, so Cool effects. Just message to you and tell you remove pimple on 3D model, please. What? Pimple? There's no pimple. Um. Just kidding. Cheers. Oh, you mean? Are you talking about like Ewan McGregor? He has a wart, like right there. Yeah, that's funny. Um. I watch a lot of videos, and they draw a house with 3ds Max, and then add textures with ZBrush. Question mark. I mean, I don't know about 3ds Max is just a very popular, like it was competition for Maya until Autodesk bought them. And now they just apparently they don't. I hear friends who love 3ds Max, they're upset that Autodesk doesn't update it enough or improve things enough for it because they put all their attention more into Maya, but still like build on old Matrix on top of old Matrix code. No pun intended. So I mean, 3ds Max, it's a whole different animal. I can never really like it. I can never get into it. The UI and its whole organization is so weird to me compared to how Maya is and ZBrush. I much rather stay in those areas. Even Blender, even though I don't know Blender that well at all, I still feel more comfortable in that space and how to operate in it than in 3ds Max. 3ds Max is just awkward to me. And granted, I haven't spent a lot of time trying to learn it because I don't need to, and I have really no desire to. But it does have powerful tools. I know that it has like a really great proliferation, like arraying tools and all kinds of things. I've seen it used professionally for that. So it's got a lot of pros to it. I just don't. The con to me is simply that it's a challenging software to learn. It's not it's not immediately approachable and like, oh, this is really user friendly. It's like, what the heck is going on here? Like I'm not excited by it. Just put it that way. It's so yeah. I would say yeah, Maya. If you want to choose a solid old school package for that, but you could do a lot of it in ZBrush too. So it's really which one you know better, I guess, in the end, really, and where you feel most comfortable. That's what it comes down to. Um, Tiger Warrior, I guess should ask on Twitch. What would you consider to be strong material to print with? What brand resin? Thanks for the answer. You're welcome. Tiger Comics Legend. I just use everything that's within the Forum Labs ecosystem. So Terminator. No, this is Mr. Reeves. It's Neo. So yeah. The glasses are off center right now, but boom. And boom. There you go. But yeah, I'm fixing the glasses right now. Oops, there we go. So, all right, we're gonna wrap these around the face a little bit. So we want to do symmetry, and we want to do good old transpose line. All right, and before we do that, I want to actually, I don't want to do that here. I want to do it on the lower sub D. So I'm just gonna create an area here of like stability, I guess you could say. All right, and then I'm gonna blur the mask a little bit. All right, and now we can draw from the center there, holding shift so this straightens out. And yeah, I think that's good. And then we can shift to Gizmo and see how this goes. Now, of course, it's probably a little bit too much. It's pressing into the face right now because I have to move it forward again. But I think that's way too much. Let's try this like so. And then we'll reset that. center it and bring it forward. Oh wait, shit. Yeah, I gotta remove the mask. All right. Actually, bring it in. And then we'll push it to the side here in a second, but I just want to see how it's wrapping around the face. I feel like the lenses could even be a little bit more curved, I think, and that's probably part of this issue is, and then I'll have to spring the temples out more, but the closer it is to the face, the better altogether, just for the look and the fit and matching everything up. Let's just zoom in here and properly to get a better look and solo out the glasses. So while they're off center, I think they're also a little bit off kilter, but still the height is an issue. So I feel like they still need to go up a little bit, obviously, and then be rotated down. So we can keep this centered for now so we can still make other adjustments, but up a little bit. And then rotate. Oh, wait. I want to move the Gizmo forward. So, yeah, so it's like right at the bridge. Okay. Okay, so it looks about right, but I feel like they could still wrap around the face a little bit more. But it's pretty close, I think. That's actually probably pretty accurate. As far as like scale and how much they curve around the face. I had this one shot from the film when he's looking right, like, and he's ready to go around the corner for that last um, tussle. There's also this other shot, which is pretty good. It's just the face. But I'm not sure if this is from the first or the second. I feel like I think it's the first. Yeah. Um, yeah, interesting. Where's that other shot? It's not the best resolution at all because I use my phone to snap it off of the screen, but because they never let you screenshot movies easily anymore, it's annoying. But yeah, it still feels like these wrap around pretty significantly. Like they're curved around the face. And they feel like they're actually a bit rounder from this angle. Of course, they're being foreshortened, but they definitely look like, I don't know, am I there? It's like their angle feels like they're actually a little bit more steep too. Like they're not like mine are a bit more like flat against the face, and these feel like they're a bit more like actually inclined above the eyebrows and then closer to the cheeks than they are to the top of the head. Like they come out a little bit, like leaning. Interesting. Like they ride up a little higher on the head. Yeah, kind of like aviators, but with the insectoid look. Interesting. All right, so I might have to do a little bit more modification. Hmm. But it won't be much. Like it's really not going to be a lot. I think it's subtle. It's like subtle things. Let's see here. Oh yeah, got to fix these pads. They have holes in them. All right, so Alright, it's subtle, but... If I just move it over... Well, yeah, it looks pretty good. But press it into that brow a little bit. Yeah, I still feel like, even though they're not centered on his face yet, because I want to keep him centered to the world, I feel like, yeah, I just feel like they could just a little bit more. I feel like they would probably, so, yeah, we'll see. Wrong object. There we go. So, I gotta adjust the temples too, but it's okay that they're a little off placement now. Okay, so... So I could try to use the bend curve lattice option, but I don't think it really lets you do like perfectly symmetrical lattices. I don't think it does two. I think it does one, right? Um, Pretty sure. We can just check quick, but do a quick save before I mess anything else up. Where are we at here? We're at 3:30 and okay, here we go, Nia. Comics Legend, you're welcome. I think the shadow shows it's away from the face as he turns. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely you're right. It's definitely away from the face a bit. You're absolutely right. You're right. And there is some distance here, definitely, between the glasses and the face. So I want to try to keep that accurate. Um, yeah, there's that gap for sure. But I think it's just a matter of like how much. I feel like they definitely, these are flatter than these. These still definitely like are more spherical. So that's what I'm going for right now. So let's see. Yeah, I don't think we get two lattices for one object. I think it's just going to be one big lattice, and then but you don't. That's the sad thing is you can't do symmetry in the lattice if I'm not mistaken. Excuse me, if I'm not mistaken. So we got bend arc. I mean, does the arc do that? See, that's the thing. I haven't messed with all of these because there's so many different. There's so many different deformers. But let's see, bend arc. Composed of multiple sevens. Okay, has to freeze. All right. Well, we can always delete them and bring them back. So for the amount of, so we don't want to keep it this slow, or do we? No, I think one subdivision up would be better for this. And, well, maybe not. Let's just try it actually in the lowest subdivision. Delete higher and let's see. All right, so which it's cool. It respects masks. I noticed that it didn't go with the temples because I have it masked off. Oops. Nope. Oh man, this one. This is so annoying. I maybe I want bend curve because this is not. Why is it changing their polygroups? That's weird. All right, interesting. Aha. All right, so there, that is working symmetrically. Haha. Awesome. Okay. Sweet. Okay, so now we're cooking with gas. All right, so but it's stretching them a bit, so I might have to like do some more adjustments, but that's what I was looking for. Awesome. Yeah, maybe a little bit too much. All right, but yeah, I think that's the amount of curvature I was going for. So if we go back and match the angle and turn this off, actually leave that on, bring down the opacity, solo out the glasses. So I'm gonna say yes to this. So we want to accept those changes. So now I can just drop this below its level, but in the same angle, and then move this over just to check, unmask. Interesting. So like one, it must be because of the slight angle of the face. Interesting. Okay. Um, and what if I just, what do I want to do here? Mask those. I just want to widen them a little bit. Maybe a little bit more. Yeah. A little bit less. Oh, by the way, I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but Keanu Reeves and a couple other guys, a couple other really talented artists and writers have come together to make a new comic. And I never really was into comics. Like I was never into superheroes. But I did go to the comic store a lot as a kid and as a teenager because I loved entertainment. I loved things connected to the brands I loved, which as a very young kid, I loved Sonic the Hedgehog, so I bought some of those comics as a kid. I bought the comics that were like adaptations of Jurassic Park because I'm a massive Jurassic Park fan. Bought the like trading cards, like tops, and then they did like a Jurassic Park spin-off, like an annual, and which was just like a like it doesn't even happen once annually, I think, but they made like one or two annuals of Jurassic Park, which was just like big, thick comics, like kind of like a graphic novel, but not quite. Just a bigger, longer comic of different stories in that universe. So about a couple of those, whatever. X-Files. I love the X-Files comics because I always loved the X-Files show, of course, but the comics they would tell original stories, but I think some of them were written by Chris Carter, if I'm not mistaken. And they had some amazing, an Asian artist, I forget her name, but she was just her work was lovely. Her work was awesome. Like she would do really unique, beautiful paintings on the covers. And I remember the first and second issues of X-Files, the comic, were worth a lot back in the late 90s. And I remember I had a couple issues of that, and so I sold one for some extra cash to use towards something else I wanted as a kid. But yeah, I think I have some of this back in my parents' house in a box somewhere. But those were cool. So anyway, comics, so superheroes, and now I've lost my train of thought. Like, why was I going down that road in the first place? Wow, totally an elderly moment. We just had a senior moment happen here. Because why was I bringing that up? Shoot, there's a connection to all this. Comics. Oh, so yeah, duh. My God, wow. So his comic. I haven't bought comics in forever, and I really don't want to get glued or sucked into something that's going to go on perpetually because I don't want to blow a lot of money on anything like that. It's not interesting to me. So I'm glad to say that I found out that this is only going to be 12 issues long, and he's also already working on a deal to make it a movie, and it's badass, dude. Like if you guys love awesome, violent, visceral, really good visual storytelling, um, check out. It's called Berserker, but it's spelled without any vowels. So, if I'm not mistaken, so it's like BZ or BR Berserker. I think it's like BRZ uh, KR or KZR. I think something like that. It's a weird spelling, but look it up. Keanu Reeves comic. It's awesome. I got the first issue, and I think the second issue is coming out later this month, or either later in May or early June. I think it's later in May. But it's only 12 issues long, so I'm like, okay, 12 issues, I can buy one a month or whatever from now until when it ends, and that's cool. I mean, they're so cheap. It's not about the money so much, but it's just also I don't want to accumulate a bunch of stuff that I'm like, oh, I got to sell it off now or whatever. I don't know. So I just don't want to get attached to something I get addicted to, whatever. That's collecting comics. I don't really want to do that necessarily, like long term. But I love a good story, so I like a good book, right? So like 12 issues, you can make that a nice little collection, and then of course they'll probably come out with a big annual thick thing that's like a omnibus or whatever. Like it'll just be a big thick collection of all of them. Um, but yeah, I think that's it's. I read the first issue and it's mostly looked at it because it's a little bit of dialogue and a lot of action, and so I like the visual storytelling. I love any kind of story that can be told without as little dialogue as possible. It doesn't have to be action oriented. I just love good storytelling that's visual. So this does it really well, and it's very graphic and violent. So like guys are getting their faces literally like punched in, and body parts and things are just flying off of them, and you learn why his character has these abilities and in general, and what his goals are, and why he's working with the U.S. government, I guess at the time, as an agent of wrath, of total anarchy, and it's freaking awesome. So I really enjoyed it, and I wasn't sure like what to really expect. I had a general idea because I read about this. I read the synopsis, from online, but damn, it's good. So if you want something that's definitely like testosterone filled, violent, badass action, I mean, it kind of makes John Wick a couple. It knocks John Wick down several orders of magnitude. So be ready. But man, the movie, if they keep it, which I hope they do, because they always never seem to do this, almost never. When they adapt something to a film, they better keep it. This is gonna be like a hard R, maybe even NC-17 just for the violence. I don't know if they go that far just for violence. I think they do, right? Because it doesn't have to have sexual content, because there's no real like sexual content in this at all. It's just violent, like ridiculous violence too. Though it's almost kind of like how Quentin Tarantino would say these things about graphic violence, where it's like it's so over the top and ridiculous and gross, but it's to the point where you're like it's a movie, like, or it's not real. No human could ever do this, of course. So to kind of think of, it's not quite Superman, but I mean think of like Superman's strength nearly applied to like a special agent, but there's a lot of other restrictions, or not a lot, but other things that sort of he uses guns, he uses other means of combat as well. But it's badass, dude. It was fun. Um, it just it's like entertainment wise, it just makes me think like Keanu knows how to party. Like he knows how to have a good time. Like this is what people have been wanting for some time now. I think as far as just like fun, just visceral action movies. It's a good freaking time. So anyway, check it out. If you have a comic book store near you, or I bought mine off of Amazon actually, but there is also a comic store just down the road from my place. So either way, see if you can get a hold of issue one. I'm sure you can find it somewhere. It's worth it. It's totally worth it if you like great action. So I say go for it. Anyway, so okay, I just want to fix that ear. Stupid level of attention to detail here, but I want things to match. All right. All right, so let's go back to actual. Let's subdivide these guys up again. Oh wait, unmask, subdivide. And let's check these out now. How are we looking? All right, so yeah, the temples, of course, have separated because I was moving the lenses independently. But now I feel like we are good enough. I hate saying that. I don't like usually saying that, but I feel like at a certain point, there's not much more new information I'm going to glean from just trying to do what I'm doing. So we're going to move this back a little bit more right there. I think widen them a little bit again, up a little. And then just some slight manual adjustments, of course, will be made to where these areas attach. And that's something I'm going to have to really figure out, because that's so thin and so small. I feel like almost like using real wire, but it would have to be have to be really strong wire because it wouldn't want it to be soft. You know, you wouldn't want it to. I mean, obviously, like to be bent under the pressure or the weight of the lenses, which would still be very thin, and very small. But those small wires that would almost go to, again, the pads would be against his nose, so I think I'll just fuse those little nasal pads to the face, and then have little holes in them to receive the wires. So then you could have the wires attached that would insert so that they would kind of be attached to the glasses in some way. And then it would have to be something similar to that too for the temples of the frames. So really, in the end, all I'll be really printing will be the lenses. And again, I'm gonna have to think about how to attach them, though. I mean, I guess I could do a dab of resin and then just laser weld it by hand. So I could do that to attach the temples to an area, but you don't want it to be like a bulge. You don't want it to be like a bubble, like a hot glue gun, like turd right there in the temples either. Um, hmm. More research needs to be done. But I am determined to make this work so that it looks freaking awesome and not like the crap that we've seen come out for the Matrix figures before, sadly. Anyway, I know I'm seeing in my periphery the chat going up a little bit, so I will check in with you dudes and ladies in one sec. Just want to see how are we looking here with how deep the temples are. Okay, so yeah, it's not far off at all, actually. And I'll just adjust those here in a minute. But we're getting there, man. This is looking, I'm getting happier with how things are going with it. We are getting there. Uh, double check. Oh yeah, I gotta get back to the teeth too. Those teeth are way off. Obviously, they're like, they need to be totally in a different. I can just adjust those right now. What the heck? Actually, wait. I don't want to move the. I don't want to move that right now. The Gizmo, because I want to check the glasses. I'm just looking right here at like where the line ends for the glasses and how. So it's like, interesting. Again, I wonder if it's the angle or maybe I did widen them a little too much. I feel like I did widen them a little too much. It's probably just that little amount. So let me fix that quickly. All right, mask, realign, reveal, bring this up, take off perspective for a sec. Shrink those a little bit. Bring back perspective. So now we tilt them even a little bit like that. All right, let's do this again. Hmm. Hmm. Frustrating. Um, separate one lens, do bend arc, the shapy one, the move. Oh yeah, I could do that too. You're right, comic selection. I could of course just do one and then mirror it over. Yeah, duh. That's another way to do it. Pull the green part. Oh yeah, thanks. Sorry, way late seeing this. When they go Z for Maya 2022? Good question. I don't know. I would assume sooner than later. Maybe they just haven't been really paying attention. I don't know. I don't know. Good question. I have not upgraded to 2022 yet. I'm still in 2021. Are you able to slow the movement of the gizmo down when aligning your parts? I think there's a way to do that. I have never really looked into it though. I would think it's somewhere here in preferences, Gizmo 3D. There's Gizmo size, so that does this. I think normally it's set at 300. Modifiers length 200. Cones. Oh, okay, that's the cones. Okay, so that's 200. That's fine. Tap to exit gizmo mode. That's odd. What does that do? I don't really know. Tap to exit. Not really sure. Yeah, I don't know though. I would think that would have been a gizmo, but I guess not. Maybe there's another option in here, but I haven't ever really looked for that. Sorry. I would say message Pixologic, set a support ticket, or if you know Paul Gabry, or if you're on Paul's stream next time, ask him that question. He would be the one who probably would know best and quickest. I'm not sure, or just Google search, I guess. Check the Pixologic documents. Excuse me. It's called, yeah, the documentation for ZBrush. That should have a lot of the info that you're looking for in general. All right, just gonna do this again. Ah, crap. So I don't want to do this asymmetrically. Okay, so that'll work. Go here. Next perspective. All right, so now I want to do this kind of uniformly. All right. I think we're finally good on the glasses. Yeah. All right. I think we're good. So then I've got to modify the other parts that didn't rotate with them. But that's okay, because those are less important. Invert. I think I'll hide the temples. Temples will be kind of like, they'll have to be modified independently. Gonna focus on the bridge quick. I think you gotta move it over, slide, and then turn it. Yeah, it's just subtle things like that. All right. Hide. And I'll take care of the temples a little bit. We're almost at time though, and I gotta make sure no one's at 4 right after me. I'm afraid someone might. Let me see. Um, 5. All right, Ian's at 5. Yeah. All right. So I will wrap up here because I started a little late. So I'll wrap up in like another, what, like 16, 15 minutes. Okay. So we're looking good. Just for aesthetics, I like throwing on a different material just to get a better feel for how it's going to look in the end. What did I use this last time? Was it hair? Oh wait, everything's masked still. Derp. Yeah, I think the hair has an anisotropic kind of reflectivity look to it, so that works. Cool. All right. I mean, so glasses are like 85% done, I guess, or maybe 90% there. It's temples and the figuring out the logistics of how everything's going to attach to the actual statue. Yeah, it's come a long way. So let's save this guy. Alrighty. If anybody has any other questions, feel free to ask. Let me know. Now would be the time because we're going to be wrapping up here in the next like 14 minutes. I feel like this area needs to be a little softer. I feel like that's a little too sunk in there for what how the light looks here. It doesn't look quite that. Doesn't look quite that concave. All right, I want to do this on a lower sub D. Smooth it out. Let's turn on his. That's not him. His scan. So just a little smooth. Yeah, so I was kind of right. We could do a little, just to match up some of the cheeks, we can do a little Z project. Don't need RGB on. All right, turn that off. What am I looking for here? Yeah, we're getting there. Keep looking at like the brow area and hairline. Keep kind of second guessing that because something still feels a little off, and maybe that could just be the lighting. Could also be the depth here and the level of. I smoothed that out actually yesterday or earlier today when I was working on it. I probably should have kept that a little bit more amplified. Actually, yeah, I was also in lower res. Let's see. Well, the definition didn't pump up that much, so let's just go in here and yeah, those folds and that depth and the bulging of the creasing of the skin, those wrinkles, it really it's what gives some life to the expression. You know, that's what the expression is. Really adds something there. And I think that was part of the issue. I'll add like sculpture eyebrows, later too, because that of course makes someone look more human. But granted, since the glasses will be over it, but they'll be transparent, so you'll still be able to see the deformation of the tissue, or adding of the hairs, essentially sculpted hairs. Of course, got to give little wrinkles in the lips, and I think probably still add a little bit more definition to the just the point where the skin of the lips attaches to the rest of the face there. Just give it a little bit more of a slightly pointed, defined ridge. But little subtleties, we're getting to the nitty gritty now, which is cool because it means it's when it's really going to start singing, when you're going to really see it really gels, when there's all those little things are added in, and it'll like suddenly like really look like Mr. Reeves. It's funny that the glasses, unless they're the right clarity, you know, the right kind of reflectivity, they kind of make everything feel weird. Even though I know they're matched up well now, they still have such a weird effect on the face with that kind of material on them. I wonder what it looked like. It's just hit render quick. Huh. Interesting. With the stronger lighting, it definitely helps too. That's cool. It's looking good. It's getting there. I think it's getting there. The hair still, like, I gotta punch it up more for sure. I'm gonna add more detail to the hair. The hairline, I'm like, what is missing? I feel like it should go back in there a little bit more. I think maybe that's part of it. Because there's so much shadow and it's black hair, and so then the gradation of shadow to the black hair, it's always like blurry. It's hard to really see where that hairline ends. Plus, you have all these little baby hairs, like not baby hairs, but I forget what they're called, but they're like these really soft hairs that are thinner that are on the very front of your hairline that then transition into the thicker hair that's the rest of your head. Um, I just feel like that goes back in a little bit more. Yeah. Could also check out those other images that I have of his side view, his profile. Oh, wait, that one's too tight. This one kind of gives us an idea. Hmm. So how I'm rotating it like this right now, if you ever want to do this, hold Shift and then click in the document. Oops. Let me see how I'm doing this. I'm doing it so subconsciously. Yeah, so tap Shift, click let go of Shift, and now keeping your stylus down, it'll rotate only on like side to side. So it'll rotate like clockwise or counterclockwise based upon moving your cursor left or right. So that's a nice way to kind of line things up so that you can, when you're, doing things in profile or just want to rotate something. Of course, his face won't match up perfectly only because his expression is different. So his nose is a bit more arched and his jaw is open versus the photo where his mouth is closed and he's a much more calm tone, calm expression, I should say. And of course, then the angle. I mean, the length of the lens. I don't know, so, and I can't really. I mean, it could be over 100, so this won't match up perfectly. But just trying to. I mean, the other image in there kind of messing with us. So a lot of things here, but I just wanted to see the hairline really is what I'm going for. But that means I have to match up the face. There we go. That's pretty good. Close enough, I think. Yeah, it's pretty good. Okay. So yeah, so I was right. It goes back a little further. So we're on the hair. Okay, so we got the move brush. And I'm just gonna push this guy back a little bit more. There we go. Okay. Mm. All right, cool. So that helped me out. So that's all shadowed in there. All right, that works. Let's try this again. Just a quick lighting reference. Nice. Yeah, getting there, getting better. Excuse me. What do we have left in chat? Are you able to slow? Okay, we talked. Holding Shift key during operation using Gizmo 3D will constrain the rotation 5 degrees increments. It's the only way to slow the Gizmo down. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I remember hearing that from Paul a while back. So, yeah. Cool. The nose. Plastilina. Yeah. Yeah, well, the nose looks that way also because it's, I didn't want to go to the full expression that he had here because it was a bit of a, well, not that one. Oh yeah, derp. To that because it's like when you look at it straight on, it looks okay. When you look at it from the side, it's almost a little bit too much of a nasal sneer where it's like, doesn't look quite great. Um, and this is also from a scan, so that I'm using like a real, you know, this is his real face. So it's taken from that, and then it's taking that and then modifying it to match this expression. So it's a pretty big sneer. It's a pretty big like nasal flare. So it's like toning it down a little bit rather than going the full on here. Still looks a little weird, but I think it's because we're again looking at it from the side versus when we're looking at it straight on here. Who knows? I might still calm down the flare a little bit more still, just to have it look a little bit more like him because we're not used to seeing him with a huge nasal flare. But it matches here, just right for the most part. Again, like I said, I toned down some of the flare because I didn't want it to be so extreme. But maybe I'll still tone down some of that expression even more just to get it right. I think that crease maybe right here in the nose too might need to be a little bit stronger, if I'm not mistaken. It looks cool though. So it's cool to see it start to take form. Satisfying. Let's see that nose. I mean, just slightly maybe. Maybe that's even like bringing out this part here just slightly too. Pushing that in. Yeah, it feels like it fits a little bit better. Oops. Actually, I can just do it like this. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, we're getting there. On the way. All right, guys. I am past time, so I think I will get going. Oh, what about the sideburn placement? Yeah, I'll double check that because I mostly did that front alignment and then a little bit from the side. But I'll have to double check the sideburns. Yeah, I think they might need to be a little bit more like pointed. I think. So when I was looking at that one image, yeah, because this is from Reloaded, so his hair might be a little different there. But then, yeah, here it's a little bit more pointed. I mean, it still has kind of a flattish area here, but it's so thinned out. Like they thinned it there, so it kind of almost has like a point to it. Where's another shot? This is a bit more of the pointed look. And again, the hair is not done, so. Then here it kind of looks like, it's so blurry because I had to photograph it off the screen because freaking screen grabs don't work. Anyway, any of the hair, like the way it's brushed back, I'm going to fix it so sculpt it a bit more so it looks a little bit more like that. This is still just kind of placeholder-ish with some work going into it, but not done at all. But yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. Couple more rounds on the head, and then I think we'll be moving on to everything else. So cool. Unless anyone has any last minute questions, I'm going to say adieu and go on with my day. This is awesome. Jimmy Wrangler, thank you, sir. We're getting there. Take care, Daniel, and chat. Thank you, Comics Legend. Everybody, take care. Be well. Get outside. Get some vitamin D. Enjoy a nice day if you have one. I have one here, and that's what I'm going to do. Yep. Take care, everybody. Be well. And I will see you, because I'm probably going to be starting a new job this month. I won't be on next week, but so it'll be by Sunday, bi-weekly. So not this coming Sunday, but then the one after it. So, all right. Take care. Bye.